why we are here. It's actually nice to meet all of you, and it's not my first presentation, it's maybe fourth, as far as I remember, my presentation about JavaScript, I mean for human resource guys. So it was very interesting to see people, or maybe person who hire a new employee, who try to find, or who are looking for new JavaScript guys, new JavaScript technical leaders, and so on. And sometimes we are probably I can have some technical interview from you, and so probably someone from you can know me. Probably no, it's okay. And so the main motivation of this presentation was to increase understanding of what is JavaScript. So it's not just a typical language. By the way, it's just typical language, but you know that JavaScript is quite famous in all programming world, and everyone wants to write, or maybe everyone want to have websites, project, enterprise project, and so on, so on. So it's easy to write our project using Java, using all cool languages, but JavaScript has not the last place, I think. As far as I remember, last statistics was JavaScript on the fourth, or maybe on the 5, maybe 6th place. So first it's Java, as you know probably, and after that I don't remember other languages, but JavaScript at least in first 10 languages, so it's very good. Okay, several ground rules, or maybe just rules. If you have any question, please let me know immediately, because I don't like way when presenters say, okay, if you have questions, please ask me after presentation, because you 100% that you will forget this question in the end of the presentation. So I would like to ask, or maybe answer to this question immediately. I'm going to organize some short coffee break. Especially for me, it will be coffee break. As for you, I don't know what I'm going to do during this period. So this will be maybe 10, maybe 15 minutes after 1 hour, or maybe 1 hour and 20 minutes, I think. So cool. I don't have any other rules. So let's start. So what is a front end? Does someone knows what is front end?
Front end is the part which the customer sees and interacts with.
Cool. Where is here front end? What do you think?
Like everything we can see, right?
Almost.
In the browser.
Yeah. So here is the front end. So especially, actually, browser is not as front end. So browser is a separated program, and what we see in the browser. So here is the front end. It's quite easy. It's just for reminder. By the way, several slides, or maybe several pieces of information will be. I hope these pieces of information will be quite familiar for you, but nevertheless. It's quite great to remind, or maybe repeat once more again. For example, here's the front end, what is JavaScript, and so on and so on. So it's from time to time you will figure out something new. I actually sometimes can figure out something new when I try to repeat something familiar for me. Okay, let's go ahead. What is JavaScript? So here we have 4 bullets. So let's start from the first. It's high-level, dynamic, untyped, interpreted programming languages. Does someone knows at least one word from them?
Yes, high level means that it's a high level of abstraction.
Wow.
Dynamic, not sure.
Uh-huh.
And interpreted means that there is a interpreter who translates the code.
Yeah. So maybe you are a programmer or you have some programming experience?
No, I'm a recruiter.
Cool. So my next quite obvious question, why do you know this information? How did you get it?
Because I have attended similar training on programming languages in my previous job, so I'm familiar with the basics.
Cool. It's very good. So I'm not the fan that each human resource guys should or maybe have to know all languages, all basics, all essentials. But so just easy terms like high level, dynamic. I think it's easy to know, and I hope it actually can be interesting for you guys. So it's very good that someone, at least someone knows high level, dynamic, and interpreted. So it's very cool because you are the first who knows three terms from this line, because usually just only one term or maybe even two. So it's very good. Okay, let's start from the first. It's high level. So as it was mentioned, high level languages. So there are high level languages and low level languages. For example, or maybe for instance, low level languages is like assembler. Does someone knows assembler? Or maybe at least here.
Yep. Not in details.
Yes, we. Can you tell us what is it used for?
Assembler.
Yes.
Usually, okay, assembler is quite low-level language. So assembler is used for writing programs, sometimes for writing drivers, sometimes for writing very low-level things like libraries or something like that. So it's very low-level language, and there are so many languages constructions and maybe. So threshold of entering is quite high. So you should know almost everything before you start writing at least one line of code. Usually, so you can use assembler for writing your programs, but I think it's quite hard to find anyone who can write a code on assembler. So it's not so popular language, and as for me, as I can see, usually guys who knows assembler is not so young. I mean, it's maybe 40, maybe 50 years old. So it's not so bad, but just statistic. So high level is when you should care about all possible situations or maybe cases in your language. Instead of using high-level language when almost all bad or maybe good situation or bad cases so this bad or maybe good situation will be covered by actual language. So you shouldn't know so many constructions, so many words, so many special terms and so on to start writing on this language. For example, in assembler, so let's imagine that we would like to write sorting, just simple sorting. So we have list from last names, and we would like to sort these last names from the A to the Z, or maybe Z. And if we try to write such function in assembler, so this code will be like, for example, 20 or maybe 30 lines of code. And when we try to use high-level language, it will be, for example, 2 or maybe 5 lines of code, because almost everything was covered by actually language. So what does it mean for us, or maybe what does it mean for you, that high-level language is usually easier to learn and to understand? And you shouldn't be in charge of managing some strange cases. For example, I'm not sure that it's very good idea to use this word, but I will try to start at least on the third slide. Garbage collection. So it's quite hard technique, and in high-level languages we shouldn't care about garbage collector because we usually have some garbage and someone should be in charge of cleaning of this garbage. So in low-level languages we should care about this by our own, and in high-level languages garbage will be somehow somewhere collected. So it's very cool. It's very cool, and I just I just want and I just can continue writing my code. Okay, let's go ahead. Dynamic, untyped, and interpreted. Dynamic language. If we talk about JavaScript, it's dynamic languages. JavaScript was created not for hard computation or not hard long codes or maybe scripts. JavaScript was created just for adding some maybe dynamic, just to add dynamic to your page. For example, your static page can show some text, some headers, some titles, and sometimes you want to hide this text dynamically without reloading any pages, just hide this text dynamically. So dynamic, it's why JavaScript was created. As for dynamic type of language, what does it mean for us, or actually what does it mean for me? It's about types. So each language has types. For example, it can be string. It's just like first name, last name, and so on. And also, almost every language has type like number. It's easy because we can't write our programs without number and strings. It's actually essentials. We want to read information and we want to, sometimes you want to compute some numbers and so on. And every language has other types. For example, in JavaScript, as far as I remember, we have 6 types. I don't want to share right now this information with you. I'm not sure that you need this information, but anyway, there are some types. And in most languages, we should strictly define these types. For example, if I say that this variable will be string everywhere, so here I would like to store last name. So no one can assign to this variable, or even no one can use this variable as number. It can be quite funny that we can do this, but JavaScript allows us to do this. It's very tricky, and it's I don't know why did they do this, but nevertheless we can do it. So it's easier to understand it. Almost high level, dynamic, untyped, and interpreted. All of these terms was used to JavaScript language just for making learning or understanding this language easier. Because if you try to remove high level, dynamic, untyped, this language will be harder, and in the end it will be the hardest language like assembler and so on. So almost all of this thing was added to making it easier. Dynamic is like untyped, and interpreted it's about artifact. So I would like to introduce such words like artifact. So each our development, my development or development for another guy. So when I write my code, in the end of the day, or maybe in the end of the project, in the end of the something, I probably will have some kind of, I don't know, maybe I can call it something. So result of my work. So for this word, usually we use a special word like artifact. So it's probably it can call like deliverables. It's very hard for spelling word, but it can be called deliverables. So As for deliverables in JavaScript, if you are, for example, customer and I am developer, as for deliverables, I want to give you in the end of the project one deliverable. It will be script or maybe scripts. What does it mean script? It's just file with name and extension like .js. So for example, my name.js, it will be one of the deliverables. So JavaScript is interpreted, so JavaScript will be parsed and will be executed each one when I try to get this JavaScript. How can we get JavaScript? For instance, you are usually use so many sites. Let's imagine a very strange example that each of you use Workplace. Because I usually use Workplace not so often, but anyway, for example, you use Workplace, and when JavaScript will be transmitted to you and when JavaScript will be interpreted. When you put Workplace into the others line and press enter, we will get, or actually browser will send request to the server, and after that server will respond with HTML and JavaScript, and after that JavaScript will be started execution. So the main difference between interpreted languages and compiled languages, that artifact or maybe deliverables of development in the compiled languages will be a file with extension exe or maybe MCI. For instance, each of you installed, for example, Viber or maybe Skype or other program to Windows. I mean, for example, even browser. So deliverables of compiled languages is one artifact. So Viber is compiled languages. So you have never seen any scripts, any additional files, any additional folders, and so on. So it's actually the main difference. In the next, or maybe in the file after next, I will show you several examples of compiled languages and interpreted, and we will talk a little bit about advantages and disadvantages. Okay, let's go to the second bullet. It has been standardized in the ECMAScript language specification. What I would like to say about ECMAScript, so each of you probably have heard about ECMAScript, JavaScript, or maybe even words like ES or maybe EC. I don't know how to correctly spell it. So ECMAScript is organization which is produce specification for language. So what does it mean, specification for language? Actually, ECMAScript doesn't implement functionality of this language. ECMAScript just create document with explanation how should it work. And each browser, for example, let's speak about Mozilla Firefox and let's speak about Chrome. Each browser can take this specification and implement for functionality which they can find in this document. So there is only one standard, and each browser can implement the standard by their own. So probably with some correction or maybe some addition. Sometimes it can be very good, sometimes it can be very bad. For example, you know this very funny story. Each developer hates Internet Explorer. I mean, each developer which is related to front end, because Java developers don't care about browsers, so it's just browser. So why Internet Explorer is so bad? It's very easy. ECMAScript standard, which was created, was populated or maybe was published, and each browser started to implement it. For example, Chrome implemented all and very good, but Internet Explorer thought that they don't want to implement all cool features, and they want to change something and add their own functionality. Where is the bad maybe side in such case? Because if you try to write code to actually Chrome browser, this code probably will not work in Internet Explorer. So this is a bad thing. But we don't have any more Internet Explorer as far as I know, so Edge browser quite good. It's the last version of Internet Explorer, and it's, as far as I know, it's like Chrome. So it's very good. So no one afraid of writing programs to Internet Explorer last, because we can do this with pleasure finally. Okay, is one of the 3 core technologies of World Wide Web, as it was mentioned. So we have HTML, we have CSS, and we have JavaScript. It's to be honest, it's actually just enough to not to use JavaScript, but just using HTML and CSS. It's enough because I said it's enough because you can write your own pages, and these pages can be readable, usable, probably publishable, and you can write your own site very easy. This site, of course, will be quite easy, but sometimes it can be enough just for publishing your number, telephone number, or maybe information about your company, and so on. So it's actually, to be honest, it can be enough. But usually, almost all customers would like to add some dynamic something to their site. They want to hide or maybe show something dynamically with animation, with very good design, because they want to impress each reviewer of the site. And so JavaScript is maybe the hardest technology in these 3 technologies, so HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And actually, the majority of websites employ it, and all modern blah 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 blah. So what does it mean? That you can't write your website without JavaScript, HTML, and CSS? It's a very interesting question and very interesting sentence. Why? Because it's actually impossible to write any site without HTML and CSS, because it's requirement. If you want to show your site or maybe your project in browser, you have to implement your project or your site using special languages, and this requirements was created by browsers. What does it mean? If you don't follow these requirements, I mean, if you don't use HTML and JavaScript, for example, languages, your browser will not be shown in the browser. So your project will not be shown. After that will be very interesting slide, I hope funny, and you probably will understand something for you. You will probably understand something for you. Okay, do you have any question regarding this slide? Because I know it's quite hard for understanding, so many technical words and explanations.
For now, it's clear. Let's see what is coming next.
Yeah, for me, I still haven't got what does it mean untyped.
Cool. Okay,
Or
untyped.
maybe I just missed it, sorry.
No problem. It's a very good question. It means that at least someone tried to hear me. It's very cool. So untyped. Let's try to compare the most famous languages, like for example Java and JavaScript. By the way, does someone knows where is the difference between Java and JavaScript?
I just
The main one is that. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, please, Oksana, I know you're going to say something.
I just wanted to say that JavaScript is front end mostly, and Java is back end. But of course, in JavaScript you can write in back end as well.
Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, and if these languages are so different, why do both of them have Java part in that? What's so special about this word?
Very interesting question. It's actually a question which I would like to ask you.
Well, we all know that Java is an island in Indonesia. That's it, and somehow it's associated with coffee, but I don't know why. Like both languages, they're totally different, and they have this part in them.
Yeah, you're correct. To be honest, I don't know why Java language was called like Java. I don't know. It's very interesting information. I hope I will figure out it. I hope I will figure out. But there is very interesting and tricky story regarding JavaScript. Why JavaScript has name Java in his name actually. You will be surprised, I hope, but it was marketing. So JavaScript doesn't have any shared features or any relations to Java, but it was, I don't remember exactly the name of JavaScript in the past, but when JavaScript was created, sunshine, sunlight, I don't remember, sorry, but this name was not have didn't have Java in his name, but guys who created this language thought that it would be cool to have something the same like in Java, and let's say that our language will be called like Java, but let's try to add something different. Okay, let's add script and JavaScript. And you will be surprised again, but some guys can start learn JavaScript even don't know that it's not Java. For example, probably their expectation from JavaScript was like from Java. So wow, I will write program in Java, this black console, this good communication with database, I will be like guys in glasses and very smart and so on. But it's like Java, and I will show you how it looks like typical JavaScript developer, especially in Ukraine. Probably I'm mistaken, but you will correct me, I hope. So Java in JavaScript, it's like marketing, just marketing.
Okay. What about untyped thing?
Super. About untyped. For example, when you start to writing your program, let's imagine that I want to get first and last name all employees in Bulgaria. Let's imagine that it will be in Bulgaria. And how it usually works. Java or maybe Java code try to create connection to database and try to get these names. For instance, we will have 10 names. It's just for instance 10 names. Okay. Java will not allow you to get these names until you say what types of these names will be. I mean, for you and for me right now, it's quite obvious that first name and last name will be string. But for Java and for actually other typed languages, they don't know what will be first name and last name and so on. So it's just language construction, and they don't know what type here will be. And so I can't start writing, or even I can't start using my program until I write first name, for example, space string, and last name space string. So I strictly define that first and last name will be only string. I know and I understand that it's quite obvious in this case, but you will be surprised that, but in huge programs, in huge projects, you will see very strange things. For example, you can imagine that number one or maybe number two can be like number and can be like string, without double quotes and with double quotes. It's very strange, but it can be. And so let's return to untyped and untyped. So your Java code will not work until you write that first last name will have a special strict type string. But JavaScript can allow you. So JavaScript doesn't care about your type. So you can use string, you can use word, you can use number, you can use boolean, you can use whatever you want to use. So from the one point, it's better. I mean, typed languages, because it's very obvious to read this program. So, for example, you are new employee or you are new developer and try to read this code, and when you read this code, you will know for sure that its first and last name will be string. It's cool. It's awesome. But in JavaScript, you will never be sure that here will be string. There is special joke about this, that here will be string. So no, I will not say this joke because I'm not sure that it's correct, and I'm not sure how can I translate this word.
Okay, I got the explanation. Like honestly, like this is silly, but the thing that confused me is the word type. I thought that you mean by untyped you mean something that doesn't need to be typed, and I thought how can code not be typed, like written? But we're talking about types like classes, no, like groups. Okay, I just got it, the answer. Thanks.
Okay, so especially for me, I would like to see JavaScript typed and as more strictly typed as it possible. But unfortunately, creator of JavaScript didn't want to do this because his thoughts about JavaScript that, wow, guys, JavaScript was created not for very hard and very long maybe scripts, but JavaScript was created for creating quite simple program, very fast, with easy to understanding scripts, and so on and so on. So as far as I know, as far as I understand, he don't want to incorporate types and other cool features, unfortunately for me. Okay, let's go ahead. So it's quite simple, especially for me, example of JavaScript program. So why the slide was added, I don't want to actually explain what's going on here. It's just like example how it looks like JavaScript. So the main language words, or maybe language construction like function and var and return and so on and so on. So when you probably see such code, you probably will know that, okay, it's JavaScript. So the main pointer maybe of JavaScript language is var. So it's actually easy. Function and return you can see in any language. By the way, it's closure, the most, maybe the famous thing in JavaScript. Okay, scripting and compiling languages. I would like to not to spend so much time for explaining scripting and compiling languages because I'm not sure that we have enough time. But anyway, let's start. So the main items which will be discussed here is performance. Time to change. What does it mean, time to change? How much time do we need to incorporate or to make change in our code? What does it mean? How much time does it take to from when I get request, okay, Max, could you please change this line, or could you please add this functionality, to point when customer can see my changes? So this is time to change. Usually time to change can be measured like low time to change and high time to change. So as far as I remember, there is no other measurement of time to change. It's not measured like 1 or maybe 10 or maybe 100. It's just low and high. As for performance, the same, low, high. Sometimes it can be measured like numbers, but usually it's low and high. And readability is quite abstract characteristic. So how easy your code can be read. I think that's all. And so scripting languages: JavaScript, PHP, Python, Ruby. Compiling languages: C++, Java, and assembler. Does someone know at least several languages from this list?
Well, they're mentioned in all of the CVs.
Ooh, very good. And so scripting languages: it's JavaScript, PHP, Python, and Ruby. Okay, let's try to compare compiling languages, compiling C++, and actually C, Java, assembler. Let's try to compare scripting and compiling languages. Let's take, for example, performance. Compiling languages will have better performance. Why? Because compiling programs has just only one artifact, which was compiled to bytecode. I mean, here I would like to introduce a new word, probably machine code. What does it mean? Machine code is 1011100111 and so on, so on. So this language is the fastest. Why? Because this language is actually language which can be used to communicating with machine. I mean, with PC, with laptop, and so on. So it's actually laptops probably, or maybe machines language. So here why compiling languages will be faster. And JavaScript and PHP and Python and Ruby will not be compiled to this artifact. I mean, this code will not be compiled to machine language, I mean 1010. And JavaScript will be stored like file with myfile.js, and when it will be needed, this file will be compiled to machine code. And as you can understand, when I try to call, for example, 10 times C++ program and 10 times JavaScript program, C++ program was already compiled to machine code 10101111, so we will execute just machine code. And when I try to call program which was written on JavaScript, JavaScript code will be compiled to 10101111, and after that it was executed. So you can understand that each of this operation will take some time. Probably this time will not be so huge, but it depends on how huge your program, how large your project, and so on, so on. So here I would like I hope you can understand that compiling languages will be faster. Usually it will be faster. Okay, let's try to go to next characteristic, time to change. What does it mean? I say it. So when I want to change something in JavaScript, or maybe in JavaScript program, or when I try to change something in C++ or maybe in assembler program, how can I do this? Because as it was mentioned, C++ or even each compiling program was converted to machine language. So if you, for example, if you try to open this program in Notepad or in Word, for example, you will see, I don't know that I know the appropriate word for this, but this file will be very huge and extremely unreadable, because what you will see in this file, it really will be 1011100111 without any spaces, without any commas, and so on, so on. So you can't make any changes in compiled program. What should you do? You should take sources, because this compiled program was created from something which is called actually sources. You should take sources and you should make changes to sources. By the way, sources is readable, is quite good organized, and so on, so on, because it's just files with, by the way, if we talk about C++, here we will see files with extension cpp. For example, myfile.cpp, and this file will be compiled to machine code 10101010. So time to change will be longer. Why? Because if you want to make some changes, you should take sources, you should make changes to sources, and after that you should compile these sources, and after that finally you will have artifact, or you will have your program. Instead of, for example, JavaScript program, if you want to make some changes to JavaScript program, it will be easy. What should you do? You just should take your JavaScript file, you just should make any changes to this file and just save it, and that's all. So you understand that JavaScript, making changes to JavaScript program will be extremely fast, and this file will be readable and it's fast to change. And here we will see advantages of not compiled languages. So it's actually performance will be lower, but time to change will be faster. And you know that almost all customers want to have their programs on yesterday or maybe on this evening. So they want to have this program as fast as it possible. So sometimes it can be very important characteristic. And the last characteristic is readability. As it was mentioned in JavaScript, it doesn't have this 0100 files, so you just can easily open this file, each JavaScript file, and read what's going on and make any changes. Instead of, for example, C++, as it was mentioned, it's 01001, so readability is 0. So you should understand all of these risks, or maybe trade-off, and choose your technology. Okay, I hope the slide was quite clear. Do you have any maybe questions? Can I go ahead?
Yep.
Really? Are you sure?
Yes,
I am
please.
sure.
I was thinking just, are these three main points, performance, time to change, and readability, the main ones? Are there others which are important but not mentioned here? According to your opinion, of course.
It's just according to my probably opinion. I can add so many characteristics. It can be 10, it can be 100 even. I mean, it's just easier to understand. For you to understand characteristic, because we can scalability, portability, and so on and so on. I should spend some time to explaining what is a portability, what is it, and so on and so on. So I choose these three because it's easy to understand, and I think it's enough to understand where is the difference between compiling and scripting languages.
Okay.
But you are correct. We can add as many characteristics as we want. I even not sure that it's the most important. It's from my point of view. Performance, time to change, and readability. From your point of view, it can be even how easy to find specialists in this language, because compiled languages is not so popular. Usually, scripting languages is more popular, so we can add here how easy to find specialists, to hire anyone, and so on. Okay, and next slide will be quite funny. How many languages can be used for web or for front end? Any guesses?
Maybe most of them.
Again,
For example, PHP, JavaScript, Python.
Maybe all of the
not-
scripting ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
to be honest,
I was thinking about this, but I was afraid that I will say something stupid.
But don't we have web frameworks in other languages?
no. First of all, don't afraid of saying something I don't know how to translate correctly. Maybe unusual, or maybe okay. Let's say unusual, because we are learning here, so it's okay. Why can we use just only JavaScript? Because what does it mean web, or maybe web UI front end? It's a browser, and actually is as it was mentioned, we can't use any other language. For example, PHP in the browser. We can't use Java in the browser. We can't use any language in the browser, because browser supports only JavaScript. So,
One question. Yeah, but the browser also supports HTML and CSS. Do we count them as languages or we don't?
It's very good. I think it's awesome question. Why? Because maybe several years ago, I mean, maybe five, maybe, yeah, let's say five, maybe 5 years ago, term like JavaScript developer was very funny, and it sounds like joke, because JavaScript is not language. Here we have just 10 construction, so you just want to show and hide some titles and some text on the page. You are not developer. Or let's say for Java, yeah, I should use database. I should care about so many things. I'm very smart. I'm very cool guy. So JavaScript was not actually language. I mean, unofficially, and just maybe 2, maybe 3 years ago, JavaScript developer become something important. I mean, so it's not joke anymore. So it's okay, but it's still joke like HTML developer, because HTML actually is not language. HTML technically HTML, we can say that HTML and CSS language, but I don't know. It's very great question, but usually JavaScript developers it's okay, and HTML and CSS developers it's typically joke. So we can use actually HTML in CSS to write in program, but in this context I wanted to show actually context was about JavaScript, so you can't write program using any other languages like PHP, as it was mentioned in previous slide. Like Ruby, Assembler, and so on. So you can't use it. What is the conclusion of the slide? That front-end developer, UI developer, JavaScript developer, ECMAScript developer, and any other guys who want to write UI or web UI program will do this on JavaScript. So it's the same. JavaScript developer, front-end developer, web developer, ECMAScript developer, all of these guys will use JavaScript. Because
Sorry, when you are saying ECMAScript developer, what do you mean actually? Because you said that this is organization which writes standards and specifications.
Yeah.
So
I'm very happy that you remember this. You are right. You are correct. But unfortunately, I can't control. I can't control all developers, so they can name this or maybe his specialty with several names. It can be JS developer. Sometimes I can see ECMAScript developer. I understand it sounds very strange, but sometimes I can see it. Unfortunately.
So basically, this means JavaScript developer.
Yeah, this is the main point of the slide. All of these developers will use JavaScript. So I want to. So this shouldn't be a surprise for you. So if we try to hire anyone to project with web UI or okay, guys, we have ECMAScript developers. Cool, it's easy. It's JavaScript developers, the same. So the main point that it will be JavaScript. Chrome, Safari, Firefox, Edge, and so on, it will be JavaScript. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
Great. Let's go ahead. So, advantages of using JavaScript. So, several points or maybe several advantages was discussed on the previous slides, but let's continue. I want to share some additional features. Maybe someone from you will want to go to maybe dark side of JavaScript development. Probably someone want to learn it. But anyway, let's start. So speed of JavaScript is quite fast in comparison with other languages. I will not share with you any numbers. Let's imagine abstractly that it's quite fast. It's really quite fast. Simplicity, as it was mentioned, we don't have any strict types, any strict things like Java have or like other languages. I can say other hard languages have. Thankfully for that, our language is quite simple to learn. So that's why we have JavaScript developers, which was, for example, teacher in the past, other guys in the past, photographers in the past, designer in the past, because in one day or maybe in one morning they decided, wow, I want to learn JavaScript. So okay, and during some short periods they can understand or learn this simple construction. Executed in the client side, where is advantage? If we talk about other languages, like I'm going to use actually during all presentation Java, because its first backend language. Executed on the client side, backend language is language which is executed on the server. So if we want to run some server, we need to reserve some PC, for example. It can be PC or laptop or other hardware, and we can run this program on this hardware. How can I get this program? I just need to know address of this program or address of this server, and I can put this address to browser or to address line, and I can get this program. So how many servers can I have? It depends on my money, or it depends on my requirements. For example, if I want to serve 10 guys, 10 guys will use this program. Okay, it's enough one server. If I want to serve 1 million guys, so it would be cool to have at least maybe 100 server. I will not speak about how the server will communicate, because it's hard. But the main point of my speech is that each server or maybe each program will need its own server, so it's hardware. Instead of, for example, JavaScript, as you know, JavaScript is client-side language. So how many machines or how many hardware will we have? It's very easy. So when you try to get our JavaScript program will be loaded automatically to your PC, and it will be executed in your environment. So it's easy to handle all possible situations, because we can have we can have just one server with Java code, and let's imagine that we want to serve 1 million guys, and our program typically was created for front end, so server just needed for responding with JavaScript. It's for transporting purposes, and JavaScript will be executed on the client side. So what does it mean again? For example, I have quite good machine. Quite fast with several CPUs, with so much memory and so on. And each each JavaScript file will be executed on this environment, and it's actually cheaper. And it's actually cheaper. Okay, barrier to entry low is about threshold of entering. So as it was mentioned that each one can start learning JavaScript, I think it's quite easy. Not so many functions you should cover or you should learn before you start writing your first program, and that's why almost each one wants to be JavaScript developer, at least in Ukraine. You can see what you do. I've heard this phrase quite often because when I try to interview, when I'm in interview and I try to ask, okay, why did you decide to be JavaScript developer? The most guys answer that I would like to be a JavaScript developer because it's opportunity to see what I do. Because let's imagine that I will use Java code, so I will not see any changes in Java code. What does it mean? Java code was run, yeah, and you can see just white words or maybe white fonts on the black console, and something smart was written on this console. For example, connection was established, query to database was created, and so on. And this text was not changed. I mean, it's probably sometimes I can say such you can demotivate. Instead of using front end, when almost all dynamic, almost all animated, with colors, and so on. So they usually say that they want to see a result. They don't want to know abstractly that, wow, connection was established. Wow, that's awesome. That's impressed me. So, and the last point, it's huge community. So community is very important because if you try to use something first time, and you don't know what should you do, or you have faced with some problem, how can you resolve this issue? Of course, you can try to resolve this issue by your own, but you can try to read instruction as we usually do, or even try to ask someone. Here we can see some potential problem. If community is low or maybe not so huge, sometimes it can be tried to find anyone who can help you. It's first, second one. Sometimes if community low, you can't find any additional, sorry, not additional, you can't find actually documents regarding to your problem. And you can probably spend some time to figuring out what's going on. And third one, probably if community huge, you probably can find in internet or in this community actually the same problem which you have, and probably the future problems that you probably will have. So you can cover this problem up front. It's very cool. So community is very, very powerful thing. Of course, if community is smart. We will talk about this on the next slide. So disadvantages, security. As it was mentioned in JavaScript, was executed on the client side, so in your browser, so no one can prevent you to open console in the Chrome and read my code. So where is the problem? If I know algorithm or if I know how does it work, this code, probably I can understand where pain point or where bottlenecks and so on, and probably I can use it. I will not speak about how can I use it, but anyway, it can be used. So security is quite important thing. What else? Low barrier to entry can generate huge count of programmers with no experience. So what does it mean? That it means that we have very huge community, but it doesn't it doesn't mean that this community is smart, because each wants to be a JavaScript developer, and each can learn 10 or maybe 12 functions. It doesn't mean that this guy can help me to resolve, for example, scalability issue that my application can't handle 1,000 users at one time. So my level, for instance, here, my level of knowledge will be higher, and there is no, let's imagine, there is no way to ask someone, because no one knows about handling of 1,000 users at one time, because they learned just 10 functions, and they can cover almost all that they needed. So this huge community can be not so good. So unfortunately, it can be controlled. So we can do this. It's only one thing which you can do is try to filter or try to find resources with very huge answers. For example, Stack Overflow has some counter with useful or maybe unuseful. In this case, Stack Overflow can help you to show who is competent in this question, who is not competent, because you can spend some time of implementing some bad scenarios or maybe bad cases, or maybe trying to resolve your issue, but this guy don't know what's going on. So you just can see where is the most count of stars, and you should use this approach. JavaScript rendering, okay, it doesn't matter here. I don't want to say right now about this scripting language. As it was mentioned, its performance is lower, but actually we can live with it and we can survive with it. And the last, maybe it's actually my pain point, fast and often changing. Because we have very huge community, each one think that, wow, I need to create my own framework. Wow, I need to create my own architecture. And as you know, maybe 5, maybe 4 years ago, there were no so many languages. There were no so many frameworks and libraries in front end. So it was a little bit easier to write our program, because okay, we have 4, maybe 5 frameworks main, and we can choose one of them, which is useful or maybe suitable for our case. But currently, Facebook has its own React, Google has own Angular, and other vendor has own frameworks, and each of these vendors thinks that this framework is the best. And all of them try to change Web UI world, and almost all of this presentation of these frameworks can be started from my favorite words. Okay, let's forget that before our presentation, let's start from the scratch, and we will see. You will see how will it be, how would it be. So I don't like this one. There is famous joke. I like this joke about JavaScript frameworks. And actually, JavaScript guys, Java guys are laughing for us. I mean, today's presentation, or maybe today's conference about JavaScript, in the first day, we just say all frameworks which was created until now, and in the second day we will talk about a little bit about actually JavaScript. So many languages. I even know special resources when I can check. Okay, Maxim.js. Can I use this? Can I use this name, or someone used this name? Or someone already used this name? So it's very funny, and in the same.
Did you check it?
Maxim.js was created, unfortunately.
Oh shit.
You will be surprised, but probably I can use Maxim 1989, probably. But you know, as from marketing point of view, it would be not so readable and rememberable, probably. So I don't like this part of JavaScript, because sometimes I can say, even usually I can't write I can't learn all language construction, because every day someone create new construction or new framework, and I can't be competent 100% in all JavaScript world. So I have some special list with items which would be cool to read, and this list, you know, I add items to this list faster than I read this list. So it's bad for me. Okay, it was about disadvantages. Do you have any questions, maybe recommendations, or maybe some points here? Can we go ahead? Continue?
Yes, that's
Great. Unfortunately or fortunately, it's just 8 slides from 34. Probably I need to skip some slides. I don't know which slides should I skip, but I will decide later. Okay, let's go ahead. So, single page or multi-page application. Does someone hear such words like single page application or multi-page application?
actually we did one external event about this. We call it Clash of Technologies, and there are always two people who are supporting the two ideas. One is like for single page, the other was for multi-page. But truly saying, I cannot give detailed explanation, but it's in my mind, somewhere deep in the brain.
Okay, it's very good that you have some short essentials. Probably I will try to refresh your understanding. So, single page and multi-page, what is the difference? Single page application is a web application or website that fits on a single web page. I think it's easier to understand if I put some example. Let's remember Gmail or maybe Google Mail. So it's single page application. How can you understand that it's single page application? So it's easy. You log into this application, and after that, this page will not be reloaded anymore. So you can travel in actually on this site. You can open inbox, you can open send mails, you can create new mails, read mails, and do something, do whatever you want. But your page will not be reloaded, and it's actually quite good. It's very useful. So your user experience will be better. So it's faster. It's better. I mean, here we can introduce animation. Here we can introduce very cool and useful UX or maybe design features. I mean, hide something, dynamically add some special button, and so on. For example, like in Inbox or from Google, you don't see or you don't have possibility to write new email until you move your mouse to the right down, as far as I remember, corner, and after that, when your mouse will be on the right corner, you will see plus. So it's very cool. So who can write single page application? Usually it's JavaScript developers, but rarely it can be backend developers, backend like Java developers, Ruby, and so on. Why rarely? Because as it was mentioned in JavaScript, world is quite very fast and often changing. So backend guys have backend guys have to understand and learn his own language, his own main language, Java, and after that they should learn JavaScript. And as it was mentioned again, even I, JavaScript developer, full-time JavaScript developer, sometimes can understand something because I don't have enough time to learn almost all. And backend guys even don't have this time because they don't have time for backend stuff, and after that they should learn JavaScript. So this is why rarely they can write it, but unfortunately I'm not sure that quality of this code will be good. So technically they can do this, but before writing such single page application, they should learn something from JavaScript, and I don't know, probably they will not want to do this because they just don't have enough time. So it's for single page application. What about multi-page application? Is web application where each page is separated HTML. Which example can I give you? I don't know. Usually I use example from Ukraine. I mean, for example, I don't know. Maybe we have bank application. So bank application which can allow you to manage your account or maybe manage your money just through internet. So usually bank application is you use multi-page application. What does it mean? They don't want to introduce any cool animation or CSS feature and so on, but the main requirements of bank application is security. And it's actually more secure to reload page and check again your credentials, or maybe it's not you. So usually multi-page application, for instance, it's bank application. I would like to show you some good example, but actually almost all World Wide Web famous application is single page, like Facebook, like SoundCloud, like Google. It's easier. It's hard for me to remember. I had to prepare such example. Sorry. I will try during my presentation to remember it, but I'm not sure. And so such application can be written by backend guys. Why? Because each page is separated HTML. So each action, if we try to remember Gmail, when you try to click to inbox, usually behavior will be the following. So page will be somehow re-rendered without reloading page. And in the case with multi-page application, when we click to inbox, all page will be reloaded, and after that you will see new version of page with actually inbox. It's not so bad solution. It's easier to support because it's separated pages, it's smaller and easier to read probably and easier to understand. But actually user experience will be lower because each time you need to reload your page, and sometimes probably, for example, you have low internet, low connection, or maybe bad connection to internet, so each reloading of page will take some time, so it can be not so useful. Okay, so backend guys usually write such code. JS or front-end guys also can write such code, but to be honest, they don't like such code, such application, because in such applications they don't have ability to introduce their creativity probably, or their maybe talent. I don't know, is it correct to say talent for programmers? But anyway, so it's I think it's more work about backend guys. Okay, is it clear for single and multi-page application for you guys?
Yes.
I hope.
Yeah.
Yep. So cool. Next slide, and I think we will have some short break. So what we have currently, it's like typical JavaScript developers. As it was promised, I will show you how it looks like typical JavaScript developers in Ukraine. Especially, for example, I don't have such beer because I don't know, maybe
He looks like Nodari.
yeah, you know Nodari, yeah, you know Nodari, absolutely, you are correct. So I don't
Let me check him in expertise search.
I don't have such look because maybe physical changes. I don't know how can I say that, but I can't turn on my camera because my camera was broken, unfortunately. So you can see how you can see on me on actually my mails, or maybe on my mails. Okay, let's go ahead. So what we have? So typical front-end developers can produce or can write JavaScript code, and after that, this code will be transmitted to browser, and after that, browser will interpret this code, and we will have some results. So it's just, I think it's easy to understand, and it's quite obvious picture. I hope. So. What I would like to propose you. What do you think if we have some short break, maybe 10 minutes, maybe even less? Okay, let's 10 minutes. I think it will be okay. What do you think?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I will wait on you in 10 minutes, and we will continue.
Okay. Не подключал.
Let's continue. So, what did we see on the last slide? And so, typical way how JavaScript developers can produce his code, or actually his main work. So, producing just code, which can be readable by browser, and in the end, we as customers or as end developers, we can see such changes like animation, like useful fields, useful forms, buttons, and so on. So it's quite obvious way. Let's go ahead. So I would like to discuss with you such interesting term like syntax or maybe syntactic sugar. Sorry. Do you know what does it mean? What is it? No? Really?
Maybe they didn't come back yet. Oksana, are you there? You usually know everything.
Ah,
Oksana? She's not here.
interesting.
Okay. Okay, Mariana and me, we're here. We don't know what syntax sugar is.
Okay, maybe we should wait 1 or maybe 2 minutes more.
You know, you can try. You see the list of participants. Just ask everybody to.
I'm also here.
Okay. Hi.
Hello.
Who is also here?
It sounded like Agata.
Оля.
Ah, Oля.
Оля Перлецка. Yeah.
Aneta is here as well from
Cool.
Warsaw.
Maybe it's some sort of feature that makes the programming language use easier or something?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. You're correct. So, how can we understand or how can we use the syntax sugar in languages, and actually why do we need to know this? It's quite easy because no one wants to write huge chunks of code, huge unreadable chunks of code, and almost everyone wants to make his own work easier, faster. I don't know. Maybe that's all. So that's why we try to create some additional maybe devices, additional things which can make our life easier, and actually the same thing in development or in programming languages. The best way how can we imagine what is syntax sugar can be, I think, can be like when you angry, yeah? Sorry, hungry. Usually don't remember how can it be used.
Hungry is when you want to eat, and angry.
Yeah, angry birds. Yeah, correct. Hungry. So, the correct word, hungry. When you are hungry, so you can have two options. You can go to restaurant. You can ask some waiter to, okay, guy, I want to eat. So could you please organize me some delicious? And it's the easier way. And second way, it's typical way. We can go to store. We can buy some needed products, or dishes or something like that, and we can cook at home. And after that, we will have actually our dinner or our breakfast or something like that. So it's usually it's okay to choose maybe second option, but you understand that easier will be use first option with restaurant. the same in programming languages. So we can write code in one line, for example. Let's imagine, and also this code will be written in 5 or maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in 5 lines again. So it's the same. We can write code which was added to the right corner, I mean to the right down corner, and this code can be replaced with just one line. But someone or something should convert this one-line code to this 5-line code. So this is syntax sugar in programming languages. So this syntax sugar can allow us not to write so many chunks of code. It is in the maybe best way, in the best case. I mean, in the worst case, syntax sugar can allow us not to write hard language construction. So, for example, I can write special. Let's imagine I can write special language construction like do what I want, and language can understand. So, do what I want will be like, okay, let's start from here. Let's do this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. So my life will be easier because for doing what I want, I don't need to write all constructions, all words, all what I need. I just need to write do what I want. So it's like having some kind of assistance, or maybe assistant, like special guy. So that's why we usually use syntax sugar. So I wanted to explain what is it, because almost all what JavaScript guys do is near syntax sugar. So almost all which we do near it. Okay, is it clear, at least on half, about syntax sugar?
Is it something that you learn to do, or is it something that you have to use? Like is it another tool to use, or is it something that you have to do, like to simplify your life when writing code?
No, you are correct. It's first, so it's new instrument. That's why I say that I don't like this part of JavaScript when every day we can find new framework and new language. Sorry. That's why I don't like this part of JavaScript, because each language is like syntax sugar. Each library is like syntax sugar, and each architecture, new architecture, let's imagine, it's again like syntax sugar. More or less, I mean, about architecture, but frameworks and libraries is syntax sugar. So I can learn pure JavaScript language and I can use it, and JavaScript language is not changed so often, so I can say that I know JavaScript. But if we're talking about not languages, but if we're talking about libraries and frameworks, so I usually have to learn all of these languages, or frameworks, because each framework thinks that okay, we would like to implement this functionality. Let's remember, do what I want in this way. So do what I want from American guys, for example, will be go to the store, buy something, do something, okay, and after that, I don't know, cook something. Do what I want, for example, from Ukrainian guys will be, okay, go to the work, earn some money, go to the shop, or maybe go to the store, market, and buy, and so on. So you can find different that American guys shouldn't go to the work, for example, in this quite short example. So that's why I need to learn all of these frameworks and libraries if actually I want to be in the trend. So here the syntax sugar. It doesn't mean that each of us should or maybe have to use these frameworks or libraries. It would be cool to use it, and usually So where is the advantages of using libraries and frameworks? And it actually can help you to decrease time. Usually managers want to have their projects on yesterday, as it was mentioned, so these frameworks and libraries and this syntax sugar can help you to decrease time for implementation. You can write just one word, and this word will do all work which probably you can implement during next 2 days or maybe next 3 days. So it's some kind of decrease in time. Is it clear?
Yes.
Cool. Okay.
Thank you.
Here, syntax sugar is very abstract. We will see what does it mean in other slides. I mean, you will understand what does it mean. For example, here, box include border radius, and blah 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 blah. It's about CSS actually. So here, 1 line and 5 line, it's not so huge, but let's imagine that we have file with 1,000 lines, and another file can be 5,000 lines, and it can be hard to read, maintain, understand, support, and so on and so on. So sometimes it's easier to use syntax sugar. Okay, let's go ahead. Finally, CSS. We will start from CSS. What is it? Is cascading style sheets. CSS actually is a language, official language and technical language, which is used for describing the presentation of document. What does it mean? It means that all characteristic like parameters here I have, or I would like to put circle, and here I would like to put rectangle on the left top corner. On the right top corner I would like to put picture, and this picture will have widths and heights 50 pixels or maybe 55, I don't know. So this is language which can help browser to understand what are you going to style, or which size of this picture will be, which color this picture will be, what is the margin from this picture to next picture. Maybe this picture should be under this picture, or maybe near, or maybe in other page, and so on. So it's like about styles. If you try to read this file in the right, where h1, you can, I think it's quite understandable. So h1, something with h1 should be color white. For now it doesn't matter what is h1, but h1 will have color white. I think it's understand. Background will be orange. I think it's also understand. Border. So this h1 will have border. Here some special syntax. It's quite easy. 1 pixel. It will be I don't know, width, as far as I remember, width, and after that we will have solid. It's type of line, and so on and so on. After that we have padding. So we don't want to have any padding with this h1. So it means that h1 will not have any pattern, and font weight will be bold. So I think it's also understand. I don't know what should I say here. So it's just language which can help you to describe actually how it looks like. One tricky point, maybe tricky moment. CSS and CSS3 is almost the same. What does it mean? That if you see in some CV or resume, okay, I know CSS and CSS3, it doesn't matter, because you can't write your code using CSS, because its requirements, maybe you remember, it's a requirement of browser. So you can't use old language, because our browser use actually fresh language or maybe the latest version of language, and the latest version of language is CSS3, so it's modern standard. CSS was already included in CSS3 because usually sometimes actually I can see that someone can write in resume CSS and CSS3. It's almost the same. Okay, so what we have.
Sorry, can you go back? I have a question not related to CSS, in general to the programming.
Okay.
Can you explain when and why all these signs are used in the programming? I mean, dots, dot and comma. I don't know how is the exact name. These brackets and I have never actually read about this. Why in the end of the row it should be dot and comma, or is it something that it should be always be like this, or actually I don't know.
Okay, I think it's quite reasonable question because this dot with comma we have not only in CSS but in JavaScript and almost in all languages. So what does it mean? For machines, yeah. So you know that our code will be interpreted by a machine, and so you have to underline where is the end of your line. So you should put dot with comma, and it means that here will be end of the line. So you can. So this code will be concatenated. Firstly, when machine try to compile some kind of compile or interpret this code, so almost all spaces will be removed. So what will we have in the partially in the end? After we remove almost all spaces, because spaces is not needed for a machine, spaces needed for us because we want to read sometimes this code, we want to make changes, so we need to leave this code readable as much as possible. So machine will remove spaces, and after that you will see that this code will be quite not readable. So what will we have? Let's try to see on the first line H1. Let's go to white. If we don't put dot with comma after white, background and white will be concatenated, will be added to each other. I mean, here we will find interesting word, white background, and it will be white. It will be one word. So machine will not understand what is a white background word because we will not have any spaces. So for that reason, we should put this dot with comma. So if we, in this case, if we remove all spaces, after white will be dot plus comma, and after dot plus comma, we will not have any spaces and we will have background. And these words will be understandable for machine. Second one, why we need these curly braces is for maybe underline that its styles or maybe its construction or next language construction will be related to H1. I mean, it's special syntax. What else? Slash with asterisk is about comments, so it means that this code shouldn't be executed and actually shouldn't be read. So you just put here special comments or some explanation what's going on here. Sometimes it's very useful. What else? What else? Maybe comma. I don't know. What else? Maybe I just something forgot.
Maybe no. Actually, what means this padding? With is it 0 or what is the sign? I cannot understand.
Okay, padding 000 is the same if we write padding just 0. What does it mean? It's special syntax that you understand. I don't know. Do you have my pointer? Do you see? Sorry.
Yeah, we do have it.
Padding 000. It means that we should set padding between our document. Let's imagine that this document is H1, and we would like to set padding 0 from, for example, from this document to another document. Let's imagine, and padding will be 1, 2, 3, 4, one border or maybe one part of H1, second part, third part, and fourth part. So here will be 10, 5, for example, 9, and 100. It will be here we will have special padding, I don't remember, 5. Second one will be 15. Third one will be, I don't know, I don't remember, 55. And fourth one will be 100. So it's special counter, maybe special syntax for explaining padding, because we have four parameters here. If you put, it's very tricky thing. If you put, for example, just one number here, for example, 5, it means for CSS processor that all paddings here will be 5. Oh, actually, the same. 5, 5, 5. If you would like to use different paddings, in this case, you should write like this. I don't know actually reason why here we use 0, because it's enough just to put 1, 0. But I don't know, just maybe for example.
Okay, can I just clarify? Padding, basically the word means a distance between the object, the particular object we're talking about, in this case, H1. So we have H1, and in this particular piece of code, we want to define the distance between H1 and another object. So we said 0 because we don't want, like, 4 zeros means up, bottom, left, and right, correct?
I can show you very, I hope it will be very short demo, just for memory, not memory. Hope. And let's see, for example, you can see that it is button. So in the left, you can see that something changing. So it's button was currently button has another color, and you can find that. Let's see, padding. So padding, border, and margin. What does it mean? I will try to change right now. What is the padding? Padding, and I will use, for example, 60 pixels. Do you see what's changing?
So when you are changing something in the code, you immediately see on the left side what would be changed and how it
quite
will
tricky,
look like.
tricky thing. I mean, you can try to implement your future functionality even in browser, and after that you should move this code to the real files. But anyway, you can see it. Yeah. So let's imagine, for example, here 10. Here will be 15 pixels. Sorry, 15 pixels. Here will be 100 pixels, and here will be 200 pixels. It's very strange. You can see, but it's real button. So you can try even without me. If you open Chrome console, margin, top, hop, hop. Something changing. Let's try to add something. So here's the CSS. If we try to turn off CSS, I don't know, I'm not sure that you will like this page, because this page will be a little bit terrible without CSS. For example, color. Let's try to choose another color here. Do you see what's changing?
Yes, you're changing the letters.
Yeah.
But
So
can you
this
change,
is,
for example, the blue part? I don't know.
oh, so this is really CSS. It's not JavaScript. It's just language. So language which can help you to explain how will it look like. So it will have color. Yeah. It will have color with red. It will have background color. It will have border color. I will show you what is a border color. I'm not sure because border is quite low, and so on and so on. So you can see there are a lot of styles which can explain each element on this page. So you can see that we have so many elements in this page. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is CSS, and if you would like, you can try to open Chrome console and try to play with this one. Okay.
Yeah, now it's clear.
Cool. By the way, here you can find very cool explanation or maybe describing what does it mean margin, what does it mean border, what does it mean padding. So where can we find it? It's very interesting, but I'm not sure that I should explain it right now because it can take some time, and it's
not
better
necessary.
to use examples, and we don't have unfortunately time. Sorry. Okay, cool. Let's return to CSS. So what we have currently, famous JavaScript developer, and after that, JavaScript developer can also produce JavaScript and CSS code. It's quite obvious, and this code can go to browser. Let's go ahead. So preprocessor for CSS. Some mistake probably. Processor for CSS. What is preprocessor? It's syntax sugar for CSS. Almost no one wants to write pure CSS code like you saw in browser because it's hard, it's long, and you should know a lot, to be honest. If you use preprocessor like Sass, less Stylus, by the way, you probably know at least one of them because so many candidates know about it and write down it to his resume. So, for example, Sass, less, and Stylus, I think it's the famous for now, the most useful and used for now. I know it's less, but I'm not sure about it currently because Sass is also a very cool feature. As you saw in one of my slides, when I tried to write one line in the left and 5 lines in the right, it was preprocessor. So preprocessor can help us. I can even return because it's quite important. Oh, JavaScript, syntax sugar is, sorry again, it's preprocessor. So in the left, what should we write? We should write just only one line, and preprocessor can help us to convert this one line to 5 line. Why do we need this? Because let's remember that we should support not only browser Chrome, but Mozilla, but Microsoft Internet Explorer, and so on. And each this browser has its own some kind of its own CSS, and you usually should cover all of these styles by your own. So if you want to use, for example, padding, let's imagine padding or even color. Yeah, so this color, if you want to use this color or maybe this padding in all browsers, you should write something like that, WebKit border, or maybe WebKit color, or something like that. After that, Mozilla, and after that, Microsoft. Yeah, exactly, Microsoft. And this code should be written to support all browsers. Don't think, I don't know how to translate it. It's not so currently important. Why do we need different browsers and why this code is look like this one? But the main idea of the slide, I mean slide with preprocessor, that one line can be converted to 5 line with using preprocessor, and it can decrease time of implementation features and actually add some additional feature. So usually SAS-less and stylus can be and should be and usually processed by something, and in the end we have CSS. The main idea, maybe says the second main idea of the slide, that browser can support or can understand SAS-less, stylus, and so on, because actually SAS-less and stylus its own, I mean, by someone, by some guy, its own some kind of language, but browser can't support language of each guys, so they can't implement all of these languages. So the main requirement or the main idea was, okay, it's not problem. You can use whatever you want. You can use your own language. You can use whatever you want. But before sending this code to browser, please convert it to understandable to browser language. What language browser can understand? It's easy, it's CSS. So the main idea of preprocessor, they can help us to decrease time of implementation, and after that, this code will be somehow converted to CSS. It's typical, and CSS will be sent to actually browser. Okay, is it clear for about preprocessor? Why do we need? Maybe you can read, or maybe you can find some familiar names. Are you around?
Yes, we've seen this in the CVs actually.
Cool. It's very great. What do you need to know about preprocessors? That if you see something like that in some CV, it's very good sign, maybe a very good signal. I don't know how to translate it correctly, but anyway, it means that this guy want to decrease time for implementation, and these guys want to make his work, maybe how can I translate correctly, automatize maybe, or make his own work more automatically. I don't know, probably. So it's quite good sign. Okay, several words. So what we have, as far as you remember, it's typically UI developer, front-end developer. So here we have JavaScript, and under the JavaScript, we don't have CSS, but we have less. So it's preprocessor somehow, which can somehow convert his own code to CSS. Why? Because browser can support less and other languages, and it can just read JavaScript and CSS. So you can see that the slides, so what we have a little bit harder, and in the next slides we will see that it will be harder and harder and harder and so on. Let's go ahead. CSS trends. So I think you are familiar with Bootstrap. Yep.
Yep.
Cool. So here I would like to show you some short example. Actually, currently we are on Bootstrap page. I will refresh this page because I don't want to have my own styles. And what is a Bootstrap? It's just for, I know each my presentation I use this quite tricky demo to explain how hard, I mean in double quotes, how hard to use Bootstrap. So what is Bootstrap? Is a CSS framework which was written by can't find it. Which was written by Twitter actually. This framework is free, and you can find almost in all vacancies that we need Bootstrap developer. No, we need a developer with knowledge or maybe with experience in Bootstrap. So how hard to use Bootstrap and how hard to learn this Bootstrap? Okay, let's see. Have you ever seen such pop-up? Or maybe such one? No? Are you here, guys? Maybe such menu?
Yes, like every website has that thing, right?
Very interesting and tricky thing. What should I do if I want to use this one? If I want to see my site like here, it's very easy. What should I do? Firstly I should include this library or this framework to my own site or maybe to my own project, and I should copy this code and pass to my project. Okay.
So it's like a piece of CSS code which you don't have to write, you just copy paste into your own file, right?
Yep.
Okay.
If you want, you can write even your own site. What I wanted to say that Bootstrap is not something which is very hard to understand and very hard to learn, because actually this framework was created to simplify writing of CSS or using typical components. For example, it's typical thing which you can find even in each site. So it would be cool to create some kind of library of base components. So Bootstrap was created this one. Okay, let's go ahead. It's for Bootstrap. What else? Flexbox layout and post CSS. I'm not sure that I will explain in details what does it mean, but just for your information, Flexbox layout and post CSS is also actually trend in CSS. Don't be afraid. I will send you this presentation, and if I miss something, you can maybe review or maybe review my presentation again, and just copy Bootstrap and paste in the Google and just open first page or maybe second page, and I hope and actually I'm sure that information which you can find will be enough for you. So just copy and paste. Flexbox, what does it mean? And you can even use not pages but videos. These videos will be the best, I think. Okay, CSS trends, I hope you understand. Yep, question?
Just one. Bootstrap is the most popular one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because the other two are not familiar for me at all, and maybe that's why.
It's no problem. Bootstrap is the most popular. As far as I remember, we have frameworks like Foundation and so on and so on. But the main idea of this framework is the same: to make publish actually library of the most popular components, like drop-down, like some kind of menu, like links, and so on and so on, because you see that almost each site has such links. Okay. What is HTML? Is abbreviation for hypertext markup language. Technically, HTML is alpha language. So why do we need HTML? In the right, you can find some short example how it looks like. It's HTML with open text and closed text. What does mean open and closed text is, let's find HTML tag without slash and with slash. So without slash is opening, with slash is closing. So why do we need it? I think it's like basement. No, it's like skeleton, maybe some kind of skeleton of my project. So CSS can help us to describe browser how will it look like. I mean, will it have red color, or will it have borders, or will it have something like that? But anyway, we missed something in this speech. I mean, we try to explain to browser how will it look like, but who will explain to browser what should here we can find? I mean, this rectangle or this circle. So someone or something should put this circle or rectangle in the right corner or in the left corner. So it is HTML. So the main idea of HTML is to create some kind of markup. If we try to return to our Bootstrap page, inspect, so you can find that rectangle. Let's try to find rectangle. Here we can find rectangle. So here you can find that in this HTML was described that it will be which will have class highlight, which will have some embedded data, maybe pre, which will have code and so on. So it's just like skeleton or just markup. And after that, markup can be, we can use markup with styles, and after that we will have such pages. So CSS will not work without HTML. To be honest, HTML can work without CSS, but it will not be so great. I think. So HTML will need to create some kind of markup. HTML, I can say that HTML quite readable, but anyway, we should use it because it's standard.
By the way, some time ago I asked a friend of mine who is a developer, actually front-end developer, what is HTML and what is CSS, and he said, because you are a lady, I will explain it like this: HTML is the face and the CSS is the makeup.
Yeah, very good. I think it's very good explanation. I mean, if I try to not to use technical words in the real world, it's very cool. I think, yeah, it's awesome. Thanks. I will try to use it in the.
Okay, I'm giving this to you. I'm giving the rights.
Okay. And probably JavaScript here would be the behavior of this woman.
And to be honest, I think in this case with face and markup, JavaScript will be your brain, because JavaScript force you, for example, to move your nose or to move your eyes or do something with your face. So your face will be dynamic, not static.
Hey, you're using technical words, dynamic, static. You should avoid them in such explanations.
Static is when your face will not have any movement, so it will be like in the photo.
Yeah, I know.
And dynamic is your face will be like in video, so you will move your eyes, for example, clip, and left, right, and you will move your nose somehow. I don't know, can I do this? But anyway, so I think it will be like brain or maybe muscles. I don't know. I think brain will be the best. Okay, it's HTML. One short trick here HTML, HTML4, and HTML5 is almost the same. I think it will be easier to explain if it is like in the previous slide with CSS and CSS3, because you can't use HTML and HTML4 because our browsers, almost all browsers implemented HTML5, so you can't use HTML4. If you see in the resume or in CV all of these terms like HTML, HTML4, HTML5, actually for me it means that this guy don't know what what he should write in this resume, or he doesn't have something interesting to add to his resume. It's like very funny for me when I see this term, this words in resume like operation systems, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, Windows 98, Windows 95, and so on. It's quite obvious that it's almost the same. So I'm not sure that for developer, I mean for web UI developer, it makes sense, because you will use Windows, for example, and that's it. Sometimes it can be useful to see Windows and Linux. Okay, I understand. It would be cool, but Windows 9, Windows 8, and blah 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 blah. It looks like for me that these guys don't have enough actually experience to write something useful in his resume. So HTML, HTML4, and HTML5 for me is the same. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. So what we have? You don't believe, but the same developer. After that, we have JavaScript, we have CSS, but we have less, which was compiled somehow to CSS, and we have HTML. So you can see that work currently in the slide 19. Work of front-end developer is not so easy because it's JavaScript, it's special language for CSS like less, and HTML. So we should cover almost 3 languages, technically 3 languages. Okay, HTML trends. So HTML5, as it was mentioned, because in HTML5 there were added several, I think, so many cool features. I mean, some kind of validation, some kind of cool feature for developers, and so on. So it's trend. HTML5 should be, I think, even must be. So Canvas. Usually I spend quite a huge chunk of time for explaining what is a canvas, but unfortunately I don't have such one. So just remember that canvas is very cool feature, and if you see canvas, I don't know, in your resume or CV of someone, it's very good sign. And the last, in the left corner top, is web components. Web components is also built-in feature of the browser. Is very cool. It's also a very cool sign, but sorry, I think I also can't explain in details, because it would be cool to show some kind of demo, but I don't have enough time, unfortunately. So Canvas, HTML5, and web components is the trend in HTML. ECMAScript 6. Does someone know what does it mean, ECMAScript 6?
You said at the beginning that ECMAScript 6 is I'm not sure, documentation that actually helps to make the things done correctly, or something like this.
Easier. I think correct word, easier and faster.
Okay.
Why ECMAScript 6 was created? Because guys from standardization have faced it with so many, or maybe with a lot of strange cases. I mean, Maybe you know what does it mean, spikes in development? No?
I don't remember. I have heard this.
Just for information, spike, it is not something good for developers. It's implementation which can cover some problem, but you don't proud of your code because you didn't have enough time for writing this code correctly. So it's like spike. So you create this one, but this code is not so. This code doesn't have good quality. This code doesn't, for example, doesn't follow our architecture. But currently, right now, it covers all requirements for QC, for a customer, and so on. And it's spike. And as more spike you have in your application, as worse your application will be, because spikes is unmaintainable, usually even unreadable, and so on. And so guys from standardization, I don't know, some kind of company, ECMAScript 6, was created new format or new standard of language, and they was incorporated. They incorporated some additional feature like it was mentioned, like syntax sugar. I can't explain exactly which one syntax sugar was added, but because it will be presentation for 4 hours, maybe for 5 hours, but anyway, it's a new type of language, ECMAScript, I mean JavaScript, with several new features. Unfortunately, currently, browsers can't support all new features of this language. Why? Because it's needed some time for implementing all of new standard. I said about this. So all browsers implement this feature one by one. So currently, for example, Chrome support, to be honest, 98%, almost 100%, and Safari support actually 100%, and Edge or maybe Internet Explorer support, I don't remember, maybe 90, maybe 80, yeah, 80%, something like that. So how can we cover, or how can we use all 10, for example, or maybe 20% of features which is not covered by browsers? So I would like to use the newest version of language, but my browser doesn't support this language. How can I fix? How can I go with this code? So here I want to introduce something strange, probably, but anyway, with name Babel. Babel is a special instrument which can help you to convert ECMAScript 6 to traditional JavaScript, which can be supported by typical browsers. It's like in Less. If you remember, Less is a preprocessor for CSS, so you can write your code using your own language. I mean, your own language, and your code, before your code will go to browser, your code will be converted to CSS, and after that, this code can go to the browser. And the same thing with ECMAScript. ECMAScript will be converted to typical JavaScript, to ECMAScript 5, or maybe to just JavaScript. And after that, you can browser can read this code. So what we have is JavaScript developer. So in the top we don't have just simple JavaScript, because no one wants to write pure JavaScript. It's not interesting. But ECMAScript 6, which can be converted with Babel to typical JavaScript. Lower, we have Less, which can be converted to CSS, which can be read by browser, and here we have HTML. And you understand that all of these things has to be covered before you start to write any code. Okay? Cool. JavaScript trends. Does someone know at least something from that?
Yes, actually, except Redux, or I don't know how is the right pronunciation, and the thing that is above Redux. It's
Okay.
not familiar for me. The rest are clear.
Okay, let's try to speak a little bit about first two icons. Where is the Angular and Angular 2? Why I would like to pay a little bit, at least a little bit attention to these two icons is because typical. Let's remember how often you try to hire someone to write application on Angular 1, for example, 1.1, 1.5, 1.2, and so on, so on. So nowadays we have Angular 2. So you understand that each developer who knows that Angular 2 exists. So each developer wants to write on Angular 2. So it's harder to hire anyone on Angular 1 because this technology is older. And sometimes managers or maybe HRs, I don't know who is exactly, but sometimes they can say, don't worry, currently we will use or we will write our code on we will write our code using Angular 1, but in several weeks or maybe months we will convert or we will have transition to Angular 2. Do you remember such words?
I don't know who is using mailing this, but both HRs and manager are using this as a selling point.
Yeah, I know. You know.
Is it possible actually to start on Angular 1 and then to convert it to Angular 2? Or this is something that we should stop using because it is not possible to happen in the future?
Well, practically it is possible. We even conducted a workshop recently here in Lviv. We have the guy who, it was a 2 days workshop, and he came, like the subject of the workshop was actually transferring your project from Angular to Angular 2. So it's possible, but I don't know how the project decides.
Okay, I will add my 2 cents or my coins. So technically and theoretically it's possible. But in the other hand, you will face with several important problems. Which problem can it be? So, how much time do you need to convert this project? Okay, guys, I need, for example, I need 5 months or maybe 6 months. Cool, no problem. After that, could you please explain me what business value will we have after this conversion? And after that, I will say, wow, it will be cool framework. We will have new feature. Again, it's obvious that I will say that my productivity will be increased in 5 times because it's new framework. I will write my code faster. I will be more motivated. I say it if actually, to be honest. I will be more motivated and so on and so on. So I didn't hear what business value will we have. In 6 months you will see the same application with the same features, and actually that's all. Okay, how much does it cost to use maybe your company in 1 month? I will say blah 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 dollars per month. Okay, so in conclusion, I will pay each month for something, and in 6 months I will not have this money, and I will not have new feature, and we will have some abstraction. I mean, some very interesting, some cool opportunities for Angular 2. Yeah, you are correct. So I think maybe 75%, maybe 80% that customer will not accept it. Why? Because you can understand that we don't have enough business value. If to be honest. So technically we can do this. Where we can go with such projects. Yeah, by the way, it's, as far as I remember, it's impossible to convert this project step by step. So it's quite hard. So as if I'm not mistaken, it's Marina said, yep? Mariana.
It was me, Natalia.
Natalia, yeah. So Natalia, you are correct. So technically we can do this. We can organize this workshop. It can be, but in practice, I didn't see any projects which really convert first Angular to Angular, especially for me. So that's why I would not recommend use this word, because to be honest, this guy probably will not see this result, unfortunately, to be honest. But sometimes it can be.
Well,
So,
the aim of this workshop was a bit different, but the aim was completed.
Okay, it's for Angular and Angular 2. React and Vue.js is libraries. React library and Vue.js library. React is from Facebook, and actually Angular from Google, you know. Vue.js was from, let's say, from unknown creator. It's libraries for rendering. I don't know what should I say here. You know that the best, or maybe the main trends in JavaScript is Angular 2 and React. So each wants to write on Angular 2 or write to in React, sometimes in Vue.js. So we should understand it, and you should understand it, and actually I can add something here. What else? Redux and this infinity loop is Flux. Maybe you remember Flux was created, or maybe it would be better to say was organized by Facebook with React. It is type of architecture. I can say that it's something new, because this type of architecture was already exist, but I think Facebook maybe reorganized somehow and maybe make some marketing. So nowadays Flux is more popular. And here we have Redux. It is from Dan Abramov. I don't remember exactly, but he is from Russia as far as I remember. Now he is in London. It is some kind of best implementation of Flux. So he read and try Flux architecture. Let's imagine that it's architecture 1. And he figured out the pain point and the bottlenecks of this architecture and created its own architecture. His name Redux. There are several similar features with Flux, but in general it's a little bit different architecture. So we can see Redux and Flux sounds a little bit the same, but in the real world it's not the same. So it's types of architecture. If someone knows about Redux and Flux and even has experience with them, it's very good sign. And ECMAScript 6 is the last version of actually JavaScript. So do you have, I hope you have a question for JavaScript trends.
Yes, can you tell us a little bit more about React? For example, is it hard to learn, and what is it the most useful for?
Sure. There is very interesting statistic, I remember. Google created Google Trends, as far as I remember. So you can try to find the most searchable maybe words. So if you try to compare how often people try to find information about React and about Angular, I mean about Angular 1, Angular first. So you can find that Angular first has so much search queries. I mean, how to do what should I do, where can I find, I have problem, and so on. And React doesn't have such queries. What does it mean? From first point of view, you can think that Angular is more popular, but it means that actually React has for example, 10 or maybe 12 functions, 20, 10 or maybe 20 functions, which can be easy to read and understand and to learn. So you don't need to Google it. And after that, Angular is harder, and actually Angular is a framework and React is a library. The most suitable places for React, actually, to be honest, React was created just for rendering or just for drawing, for applications or maybe for project where you have to render so many information. For example, list from 1,000 or maybe from 10,000 participants. So sounds quite easy, but for browser it's hard to render. And React was created for rendering and dynamically changing this data. So React can help you to do this in fast way. And as usually, React has created his own architecture with Flux and his own vision of actually development. So the most suitable places, I don't know. Nowadays, React, we use React almost everywhere. So we can use it in projects which is not actually was created for rendering or for dynamic changing data. You can use React just for, if you want to use React, you can use it. I don't know. It has its own implementation like virtual DOM, but I don't want to actually speak right now about virtual DOM because it's quite long discussion. I think it will be long discussion.
Okay. And one more question. What is the difference between framework and library?
Okay. Library is some kind of collection of useful functions or maybe useful instruments, very short instruments. So library is not force you to follow some kind of probably architecture or maybe name convention or maybe something like that. So you can put your files or your code or your architecture wherever you want. You actually can use actually no architecture. And instead of it, Angular force you to use special architecture, his own architecture, its own actually to be correct, its own architecture. Sometimes its own names or maybe name convention and so on. So it's lower probability that you will do something wrong. For example, something wrong in Angular because Angular forces you to do a lot. Instead of React just, okay, you can find all useful things in React, but how can you use it and where? It doesn't matter for us. And Angular cares about it. It's quite simple explanation. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Cool. It's JavaScript trends. So I think you usually see such words in even resume or in even CV. So it's okay. There is no something strange or maybe something new for you. I think just maybe organize all this information in one slide. Okay, let's go ahead. Next slide will be very interesting. What is Node.js? Does someone know what is Node.js?
Node.js is a framework of JavaScript which is used for backend development.
Cool, you are correct. Node.js can be compared, or we can imagine that it is like PHP, for example, like Java, like Python, like JavaScript. So it's also interpreted. So here here's no new information. You are correct. It's a JavaScript language which was created for backend guys. No, I mean not for backend guys, but for backend purposes. The main, I don't know how to translate correctly, but front-end developer and Node.js developer. So there is some impression that each front-end developer can write backend code, I mean using Node.js, very fast and easy. But I think actually from my experience, as I saw, and from using actually my own experience and experience of another guys, it's actually wrong, because front-end development and back-end development, even using the same language, don't have any similarities, so much similarities except language. So in front-end we care about CSS, we care about animation, we care about beautiful UI and so on. In back-end we care about actually database connection, about users, about scalability, about architecture of our application, because we will have just only, for example, one server and maybe 5 servers. So for backend guys, it doesn't matter animation, it doesn't matter CSS, it doesn't matter this UX or maybe UI things. So they will laughing from me. So I remember my experience. So it was quite hard, because when I was trying to write some code using Node.js, except language, there was no similarities at all. So it was hard firstly, but it is real to be requalified and to learn this language, I mean learn this infrastructure and environment. But from first, you can't hire a front-end developer and say him that, okay guys, so starting from tomorrow you will write backend code. I think it's not possible. The most maybe famous question, how can we transfer from another language, or actually can we transfer someone from another language to JavaScript? I'm sure that you have, or you had, or you will have this question, so probably I will try to cover this up front. So Java, Python, PHP, strange language. Does someone know what is the language?
Go.
This is Go.
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 Yeah, correct. And this is C#. So what do we need? And actually, is it possible at all transfer from another language? So what do we need? We need typical JavaScript developer sometime, and we will have JavaScript developer.
Is it typical JavaScript developer? In our office, the guys are different.
It's not typical. It's not
Actually, much better.
It's typical developer Java, Python, Go, C#, PHP. So for these guys, we will need to take him some time, and after that he will be JavaScript developer. What I would like to say here, so some kind of conclusion, that all of these languages is harder to learn instead of JavaScript. So JavaScript is easier to learn. So what does it mean? For example, almost all features which we have in JavaScript has been already covered on Go, on C#, on PHP, on Java, on Python. So JavaScript is easier because JavaScript untyped, JavaScript dynamic, and so on and so on. Instead of Go, for example, JavaScript Go typed, strict language, compiled. So to follow these rules, it's harder. So it's real. Only one thing which I would like to warn, that motivation of this guy should be quite high. So I think that's all for this slide. Is it clear? Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay, several Node.js trends. And so, Express, Sales, Core, Happy, and MongoDB. Probably you have heard about Express, am I correct?
No.
Nope.
Maybe the
Not
most
really.
famous one is MongoDB. The rest for me are not familiar.
Okay, I will not spend so much time for explaining what is Express cells and so on. I just would like to say that Express cells is, we can say that it's almost the same, not correctly the same, but almost the same. Core and Core 2 is implementation of Express, but using ECMAScript 6. So it's, we can say that Core is newer. Yeah, Happy is just framework. Let's skip it. And MongoDB is database. And so why we have in Node.js Trends MongoDB? Because usually all Node.js developers who can write any application start his own application from searching, okay, which database should I use, for example, and Google will usually answer him MongoDB and blah, 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 blah. So MongoDB is just famous database, but to be honest, it is not a suitable database for all his cases. So what does it mean? What does it mean if you see MongoDB in your resume? So it's good for this guy. So he is in the trend, but in the best case, he probably, maybe even he definitely has to understand what is a SQL or what is a relational database, and after that MongoDB will be useful. Why it definitely should be? Because MongoDB is something which is called NoSQL, or not only SQL database. Why it is not only SQL database? Because there was created SQL database, so relational database like MySQL, like MS SQL, like PostgreSQL, and so on. And after some time, some guys decided that, okay, we think that feature which we have in SQL database is not enough. Let's try to create something easier, maybe something better, I don't know. And they created not only SQL databases, but you will never understand what is a NoSQL databases or their advantages without understanding what is actually SQL database. So SQL databases is essentials, is the basics. So you can't understand what is a MongoDB without understanding typical database, at least MySQL. So this is the main point which I want to share with you. MongoDB is good, but the best case when you see a relational database like MS SQL, MySQL, and so on, and after that you will see MongoDB. It's good. In this case, probably he will know where is the difference, what should I use, what shouldn't use, and so on. So, okay.
Yeah, clear.
Great. And so I have several more slides. It's like maybe 2, maybe 3, and we almost in time. So the last theme which I want to cover is task runners. So what is task runner? As you can see on the previous slides, with name, so what should we have? We see that we have a lot of transformation from some abstract language to a language which can be covered by browser. Let's remember that CSS we don't like to write, we like to write less, and after that compile it to CSS. The same situation with JavaScript. The same situation can be with HTML, but I didn't cover HTML because my presentation quite huge. If I add converting HTML, my presentation will be more huge. And let's see how can we do this. In this case, in case which I have created, we have at least 2 transformations. So we should care about CSS and we should care about JavaScript. And also we probably will have another task. For example, what can we do with our JavaScript? we can check that, for example, in this code we don't have word, we don't have special word. For example, Maxim. I don't know why someone need to write this word, but anyway, I would like to check my code that no one uses this word. So it can be organized automatically. Yeah. So it can be third task. So this task will be executed one by one each time when I need this. And we can introduce several other tasks. I don't want to share with you right now all other tasks, but I hope you will review this presentation after my speech and you will understand what I mean. So Task Runner can help us to make this process automatic, and it can decrease time for development, for implementation, and probably increase my mood sometimes, because sometimes I'm tired from compiling or maybe some doing routine stuff every day, each time, each minute, and so on. So it would be cool to move this to machine. Okay. Task Runner trends is Webpack Gulp Grant. Maybe something is familiar for you. Has to be.
Honestly saying, not familiar for me.
Okay, it's no problem. So Webpack Gulp Grant, the most, maybe the famous or maybe the most popular in JavaScript world nowadays is Webpack and Gulp. So there is some small difference between them, but I think it's not so principal for you right now to understand where is difference. But just for understanding, Gulp and Webpack is a modern and the best maybe case or maybe instrument for using Task Runner. Grant, which is the last one, is also okay, but this technology is a little bit older. Someone uses it, for example, our project uses, but I hope, we will go from Grant to Gulp. Task Runner is, let's remember, or let's repeat. So Task Runner is something which can help you to make your routine stuff, I mean some kind of compiling, some kind of doing some work automatically. So we will compile our CSS code, we will compile our JavaScript code to something understandable to browser automatically. So this is the main idea of this Task Runners. And I think the last slide which I will show you today will be what we have. As usual, we have developer. After that, we have ECMAScript. Yeah, ECMAScript 6, which should be compiled to JavaScript, because JavaScript is something which can be executed in browser. Who will care about this compilation? Here will be Webpack. So you remember from the previous slide that Webpack is responsible or maybe in charge of such compilation. Okay, let's go.
What happened to Babel then? Sorry.
Huh?
What happened to Babel then? In one of the previous slides, instead of Webpack, there was Babel thing.
Absolutely, yes, it's very, very cool that you see difference. Babel was already added to Webpack. So Webpack a little bit higher abstraction under the Babel. So Webpack can do almost the same that Babel do.
Okay.
But Babel is just only for JavaScript, yep, and Webpack can be used not only for JavaScript but for CSS and for other tasks. So this is the main reason why we change Babel to Webpack. Okay.
Okay.
We can say that it's more universal. It's more unified. And also don't forget in JavaScript that we have very modern, a very popular thing like Flux, like Angular 2, like Redux. So don't forget that it's just JavaScript. It's just JavaScript stuff. After that, don't forget that we need to compile less using Webpack to CSS. Yeah, because we don't like just CSS, we would like to write on less. And after that, we should compile our HTML. In this case, our HTML will be just concatenated in one file. For example, we have 10 HTMLs. We will compile these HTMLs to one HTML because it will be easier to download it to browser, for example. And after that, this will be moved to browser. So currently, actually, my presentation was created around this slide. So I would like you to show how hard to be a front-end developer, how many technologies you should cover and you should know and you should be entrenched in all of them before you write any line of code. So this was a main idea. And the second actually main idea, I think it's enough. So, do you have any question about last and the hardest slide in this presentation?
Not about the slide, but at the beginning you promised to talk about garbage collection, and I think we missed it somehow. What's garbage actually?
Okay, very good question. Garbage. So let's start from the beginning. Each application or each program should and actually use memory. So because we need to somehow or somewhere store our last name, first name, and something like that, we should store it somewhere. And so usually we store it in memory. In virtual memory, we shouldn't care about managing of this memory. We just use this memory and that's all. And so this memory, you understand that we have limited memory. So let's imagine that we have 2 gigabytes memory, and if we try to if we try to download 1 million last name and first names, so probably we will load almost all our memory, and even we can load more than we have memory. So let's imagine that we will load 2 gigabytes and half. What should program do in this case? In this case, program should try to find some free place, some empty space. How can he do this? In this case, in this case program or in executable program should try to find something which can be deleted. What can it be? It can be variables or probably last name and first name, which was already loaded, but we don't need them. So this is a garbage. Program should clear this first and last name, which is not needed anymore. So this is the main idea, and maybe the hardest idea. How can we know that this is a garbage? And there are a lot of very hard to understanding algorithm. How can we understand that this variable or maybe this text will not be needed anymore, and this text is used? So this is a garbage in JavaScript environment or maybe in development environment.
Okay, so why do you say that JavaScript doesn't need garbage collection?
No. Sorry, maybe I say something wrong. I mean that JavaScript needs and JavaScript has garbage collection. But the main idea of this word is we shouldn't and we don't care about calling of this garbage collector. So this garbage collector is working automatically somehow under the hood. So I don't know when, why, how, and so on. So it somehow works. And in low-level languages, I should care about memory and calling of this garbage collector by my own. So I should care about this by calling this garbage collector directly. So please, for example, clear me several pieces of memory. So this is a little bit harder because you should organize not only your algorithm or not only your code, but you should care about, okay, how much memory will it load? How much memory will it clear? How often memory should you clear? How effectively this memory will be cleaned, and so on. And you can understand that there are a lot of questions. And so in this case, high-level languages, or maybe languages with high-level abstraction will be more useful, even more easy.
Okay, I got it. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, it's very interesting question. I didn't hear a question about the garbage collector from you guys. I didn't expect, to be honest, but it was very good surprise for me.
It's just that you started talking about it at the beginning, and I was waiting for it.
It's very, very cool. It means that you understand what I said and you are interested in my words, so it's very cool. I'm proud of my presentation in this case. Thanks.
I'm also proud of your presentation.
Thank you. And so, I don't have any other slides. So it was just essentials or just like basics on JavaScript for HRs. And what I want to say in the end. So if you have any questions or any suggestions, or maybe let's stop in the questions. If you have any questions, you can write directly to me. I mean, for example, okay, Max, I can't understand what he wants to say by writing CSS and HTML in one word. I don't know what is CSS HTML in one word. And okay, let's try to figure out what does it mean. So I will send you this presentation by mail, and in mail you can find my Skype in my sign. And if you have any question regarding your future candidates or maybe your current candidates, you can ask me and I will try to answer you. And so I think that's all. Thanks for your time, for your attention, and for your excellent question. To be honest, this question was the hardest from my 4 presentation because garbage collector was not covered, but it's very, very cool to speak with you about it.
Huge thanks to you as well. You have a very good way of explanation the things, which is very important for people like us who are not that technical. So thank you again, and hopefully you will do another training for us, which could be more from practical perspective, something that we can write as a code, or to use HTML, to use CSS, and all these things that you explained to us today.
Cool. Actually, to be honest, I didn't want to use on my presentation any chunks of code because I'm not sure whether someone wants to actually learn JavaScript and HTML, but I put several short demos like with Bootstrap or with CSS. I think it's funny. It's interesting to you to see actually how does it work, because you just can open this console and try to do the same after my presentation. It's very interesting and easy. But if you would like, we can speak with TMG about organizing second one training with maybe deep understanding of JavaScript with other stuff.
Okay, you can think in this direction. I would participate in such training again.
Thank you. Okay, it was very nice to meet all of you, and actually all of HRs in SoftServe, even from Bulgaria and even from other countries. Let's say it this way. And so I'm going to finish my presentation. It was nice to meet you again. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.